all that good stuff. Well, think about it, reflect it, get it in that 120 characters, make it your own. And I mean, that's a huge part of what I do with a client. I mean, right off the bat. And now this is getting a little bit ahead of where this conversation may be going here, but I just wanted to say it's a good segue. One of the very first things that I will ask, not just a client, but a prospect, is I will say, what do you want to be known for? And they say, well, like let's say in your case, I create confident leaders, I help people with sales, things like that may come to mind. And then I try to get them to make it into 3 statements, and even better, 3 words. So maverick is definitely one of your words.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
So it is empowerment. Is that another word maybe? Or is it leaders? Or is it leading? There's all these kind of words that are floating around right now. And that's what I love to do. That's when I come alive. It's my little passion is how can we get those words to resonate and to actually help tell your story?
Absolutely.
That's when it all clicks, right?
Well, and this is what you're so great at, though. I mean, Jared, and when you're speaking, number one, you're lit up, right? People can hear that. It's your voice inflection. You're super passionate about it, but it's that passion to purpose. I mean, your purpose is to help people, and you've witnessed time and time again. I mean, who hasn't, right? LinkedIn is a huge platform, and there's so much success to be had there, but there's missing opportunities, and you have created the solution to the problem of those missed opportunities. You're saying, you know what, lead generation is the bloodline to business. So if we can get your leads paying attention to you in this way, which is unique to you, and it's a skill that I have, that's where people need to be working directly with Jared Weezy, because this, even for me, like that was a conversation we had, and it's led into podcasting. We're going to be expanding this conversation to so many more listeners being in this space with us right now, hearing it and going, I need that same thing. So what got you there? Like, give us your story, Jared. Like, how did this talent or this natural skill set really come to life for you? Was there an example or a catalyst moment?
Oh, that's such a good segue. I was actually hoping you would kind of go that way because I was going to interject with it if I had to. But it's so perfect. The timing is perfect. Just a real quick background, though. I came from an IT degree, so programmer. But I was never the kind of guy that you would throw in the back cubicle and say, okay, can you put together this program, bang out the code, and just get that done. I never had a desire to do that. I literally from day one, and this gets a bit more into the personal side, I probably 3 decades now, I've been into personal development. We're talking Stephen Covey, Tony Robbins, Maya Angelou. Those are probably 3 of my most memorable people that I would say that I try to model. I was always asking the why. So that gradually led to me becoming more of an IT business analyst. And I was great at asking the questions. And so what that role did for me, and I've been doing it for a couple decades now, is, you go to the business, or the business may come to you, and they say, we want the computer system to do X. And then I would come back and say, have you thought of A? Do you really want it to do Z? Why would you want it to do Y? You come back with these questions, you challenge it a little bit, and then you go to the technical guys, the programmers, and you say to them, hey, how long or how much would it take, any of those questions, and they'll give you their answer. And there's a great analogy I like to use. It's like the business might ask for the moon, right? I mean, that's kind of an expression or idiom, whatever you want to call it too. But you go to IT and they'll come back and they'll say, well, I can get you a flashlight for that amount of money in that much time. So you might ask for the moon, you only get a flashlight, but that's just it. So it's distilling things down, it's asking the questions, and that was a perfect segue for me. So when I did that, now here's flash forward a little bit. 15 years ago, I put my resume on a job board. I got a call in a job with relocation the next day. So I had resumes down probably 15 years ago or so. About 5 years ago, I made a 1-word change on my profile, my LinkedIn profile. I got a job the next day. So when I saw that happen, I knew there was a shift, and I knew there was some magic here that we could be doing on LinkedIn to get people coming to you as opposed to you doing the traditional lead cycle and go outbound and try to find people and spam them and spray them with whether it's a resume or just trying to do cold calling. The research backs it up. The cold calls for businesses, the resume spraying, it just does not work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is the question that everybody that's listening wants me to ask you. I can just tell you now. What was that 1-word change that made all the difference for that resume?
Sure. Believe it or not, the 1 word was open. I changed my headline to say, instead of, let's say at the time it was probably something with business analyst, I said, I'm open. I'm open as a business analyst to do blah, 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 blah. And a recruiter saw it. Now, this is a great little clarification thing here. The recruiter that saw it, to be fully upfront, he was in my network. And you can't always get away with that. Right now, there's a better way to do it. It's called #ONO. And it's an acronym that stands for Open to New Opportunities. So in 4 characters, just like open, in 4 characters, you have a lot more context. The #ONO is a great way to signal to people when they see your headline, or even if they search on it and they search your profile. That tells recruiters, if they're aware of it, that, wow, this guy is, he pulls up in my search. Whether you put open in a search, who are you going to get? You're going to get a ton of results. But #ONO is a lot more direct way of doing it. So that's how that morphed. And I was a co-founder, if you will, of that. We did an article back in 2017 with 2 other people. And I've since taken that and turned it into a search mechanism, right? And turned it into a way of branding, a better way of doing it, not just slapping it on a profile and then hoping for the jobs to come to you. That doesn't always work. That's where my method comes in to make sure that you are fully attracting people. And you already have that network built up. You've got a great, robust profile built up. You put all those 3 things together. Now we're talking. Now you're going to start making the magic happen.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, this is the other thing too that I found quite fascinating, Jared. When we had the earlier conversation, so you say, attracting leads, right? And, everybody wants to attract leads. That's just the fundamental. And I love the word that you use, attraction, because when you attract, you're confident, but when you pursue, you compete. And so you're not competing. You're just saying, I'm just going to attract because I've got the confidence to know that I can, and that's where the leads are coming from. But you do it with a 20-step process. So this is not just philosophy. This is not just Jared throwing these things out there. You actually have a 20-step process. Can you give us any insight to someone who's listening to this and says, I'm going to be connecting with Jared because I want to learn more? Can you talk to us about that 20-step process?
I sure can. In fact, I think since we talked about this, I was thinking that it was about 20, and I have since refined it, and it's more like 25 or 26.
Ooh, nice.
And this is what it comes down to. The cornerstone of it is what I learned from working with LinkedIn. I was sought out by LinkedIn for reviewing profiles, of all things, and it was a pilot program they had back in, I believe it was 2017. And what I got from LinkedIn helped me be confident, there's that word again, be confident about what LinkedIn looks for in order of importance, the top 12 sections of a profile, even some backing up of stats, right? If you have this section of a profile, you are X times more likely to get that traction, to get more views and to get more of what you want. So I took that though, and the problem is where it was left hanging is it didn't help you understand how can I actually maximize the search results, getting you actually found. Because a lot of that, in fact, everything about that actually is driven by the content. If you just say, I am a maverick, you're never going to be found for the word maverick, right? It's how you use the word maverick. It's where you use it. It's how many times you use it. There's a lot that goes into it to actually get picked up by the search algorithm and get found for, let's say, if that one word you wanted to be found for was maverick. And that's what I will do. It's part of why I was saying earlier, I will ask a client or even a prospect, what do you want to be known for and found for? And if, let's say, it's maverick is the word, we're going to make sure. And in some clients, I end up spending hours doing it, right? Because there is nobody on the planet knows LinkedIn. Well, I can't say nobody knows, but there's probably an NDA. Nobody knows LinkedIn's algorithm. Okay. And in fact, I don't think even LinkedIn knows it, but they know what they program it to do, but it is always learning.
Right.
So unlike Google, LinkedIn is constantly changing, constantly looking at different parameters, and it's trying to find what they think you would be interested in. That's the shortest way to explain it. But now, how does that impact you in finding leads and finding the recruiters and your audience, as I like to call it, attracting your audience? It's a huge impact, right? But the one thing that you can do, and this is a little tip for your audience, go ahead and put in the search terms that you're expecting to be found for. And if you're not showing up on the first 4 pages, it's just like a Google search. If you're not showing up on the first four pages, they're going to move on. So it's a good sign, it's a good indication that you're doing well enough with the content in your profile that if you are shown in the first 4 or 5 pages, you've got good content and you're going to be getting better results. If you're not, that's where I come in.
Okay.